Skyliner at Lakemont Park is the jankiest roller coaster in the state of Pennsylvania. This classic wood coaster looks like a dilapidated mess, and parts of it ride as bad as it looks. But other parts of this coaster are genuinely awesome. Find out all the good, the bad, and the ugly about Skyliner in this review. Skyliner opened back in 1960 at New York's Roseland Park. This was built by the Philadelphia Toboggan Coasters, and it was one of the first coasters designed by John C. Allen. But Roseland Park closed after the 1985 season. Skyliner's future was in doubt, but two factors helped save it. First, a park just 2 hours east proved it was viable to relocate a full-size wood coaster. For the 1985 season, Knoebel saved the rocket from San Antonio, Texas's Playland, and relocated it nearly 2,000 miles to Pennsylvania. The ride now runs as Phoenix, and it's Knoebel's premier attraction. The coaster is fresh off being named the best wood coaster in Amusement Today's Golden Ticket Awards for the 5th consecutive year. Second, the Boyer Candy Company purchased Lakemont Park before the 1986 season. They renamed the park Boyertown, USA, and they wanted to grow it into an amusement destination, much like Hershey Park off east. But the park's signature ride, Leap the Dips, had fallen into a state of disrepair, and was inoperable for the next decade, so they decided to pull Knoebel's and relocate the recently closed Skyliner to serve as a new headlining attraction. The coaster was moved 200 miles south and reopened for the 1987 season as Skyliner. While Leap the Dips is still the park's most famous attraction, Skyliner is their most visible attraction. This coaster is the park's tallest ride at 60 feet or 18 meters tall, and it also happens to be located behind the right field wall of the adjacent People's Natural Gas Field, which is the baseball stadium for the Altoona Curve minor league baseball team. It's an absolutely surreal backdrop to see while taking in a baseball game. If I were playing there, I would undoubtedly be distracted. The coaster is roughly 423 feet or 129 meters from home plate, so it's entirely possible this coaster has been hit a few times over the years. Skyliner fittingly serves as a pseudo-cheerleader because the side of the train reads Go Curve. While the green trains look nice with that decaling, the ride structure definitely looks weathered. The ride is supposed to have a white paint scheme all over like a lot of classic woodies, but the paint is chipping all over the place. Combined with some really weird profiling during the ride, Skyliner looks like it could collapse at any moment. I know it's not going to, but it just looks rough around the edges. It also did not help that I saw a maintenance worker fixing a broken lap bar in between cycles. While the train was parked in the station, with me still on board no less, a maintenance guy was hard at work fixing a restraint. This happened after multiple cycles until the issue was finally resolved. At a major park, the train would have been taken out of service to perform that repair and then cycled empty to verify it worked. At Lakemont, I had a front row view of the fix, and then I was sent on the test train that followed. The station itself is pretty plain, but the roof has illuminated letters spelling out the ride's name. It gives that old school vibe, although with the way it flickers, combined with the ride's overall appearance, it makes me sort of think of a zombie apocalypse for some reason. And on that note, I've never heard of anyone having to wait to ride Skyliner. When I visited this park this summer, I was almost always getting a Zen ride on it. I had to wait several minutes from the parking garage just to get the aerial shots you're seeing on screen now, because there were so few people in the park riding this attraction. Skyliner used to have 2 trains, but one of them became a parts donor to keep the other one going. The train features 3 cars, each with 3 rows of 2, so the ride can accommodate a max of 18 riders per cycle, although I don't know how often that ever happens. The restraints are more similar to a PTC Junior coaster than one of their adult rides. Each row has no seat divider, so guests are free to slide side to side. The buzz bars are also different. They have the semicircles on the side like the junior coasters, and the bar spacing is much closer together. But it feels identical from an on-ride perspective. The bar is a single position and it rests a good foot above my lap, offering plenty of room for airtime. Seatbelts were also added in recent years, but they're extremely loose and don't impact the ride experience much at all in my opinion. Somehow, this ride has just a 36-inch height requirement. Oddly, this is lower than the kiddie coaster next door that has a 42-inch height limit. I find it hard to believe there's a kid that cannot ride a Herschel kiddie coaster, yet they'll be able to ride Skyliner. As for which row you'll want, I would avoid a wheel seat. Most valleys are somewhat bumpy, but the first one is downright brutal. It'll try to break your back if you're in a wheel seat or the third row of a car. The second to back was fine, but I preferred the front 2 rows for the smoother overall ride and slightly better airtime. As I describe the experience down below, I want to note the trains were mostly empty. I have never experienced Skyliner with anything different, so let me know if you've gotten stronger rides with full trains. Once dispatched, you round a corner. You then ascend the lift hill, which gives one of the most underrated views of any coaster. If you're lucky, the Altoona curve will have a game going on to your right, and you'll have a nice aerial view to watch America's pastime. I honestly wouldn't mind if the ride lost power at this point, and I got to stay up there for a while watching the game. At the top, you turn to the left and then head down the ride's largest drop, a 45-foot or 14-meter tall plunge. If you're in that back car, you'll get some fantastic ejector airtime. You are thrown right up into that lap bar. It's a really underrated drop in my opinion. But watch out for that subsequent valley. It is one of the roughest points I've experienced on any coaster. Even my GoPro's smoothing algorithm cannot hide how bad this pullout is. The entire train violently shakes, and if you're in row 3, 6, or especially 9, God bless your back. I really hope this area is addressed in the near future because it's horrific. You then shoot up into the first of many turnarounds. This coaster might as well be nicknamed Turnaround the Ride. And if you're up front, it's your turn to get your strong burst of ejector airtime rising up into this element. The airtime from this point is a lot less intense, but you'll still come out of your seat a few times. And remember, you have just buzz bars. The drop off this first turnaround gives a very weak pop for those in back. After a weird little straightaway that has a shimmy to it, you then rise up into an L-turn hugging the outside of the first drop and lift. Going into this element, those up front meekly come out of their seat. Then everyone gets a fun view of the game during the turn, and the drop gives a solid burst of airtime in the back. You then rise up into, you guessed it, another turnaround. This one goes over the lift hill and drops next to the station. Those up front get some decent floater into the element. Then the turn dips downwards, which gives everyone pretty good laterals. It's the only really notable lateral moment on the ride. The drop that follows doesn't really do much of anything. Next is an L-turn on the inside of the lift and first drop. You get an okay pop up front on the ascent, then the descent gives an itty-bitty pop of air in the back. After another brief straightaway, you have another U-turn around inside the first one. Those up front get a very weak bit of airtime, but that's the end of the negative G's for all. You then drop down to the last straightaway. You then head up one last hill and turn towards the brakes, getting a pinch of laterals if you're up front. This ends the 2,400 foot or 730 meter long coaster. So what would I rate Skyliner? I would give this coaster a 6 out of 10. It is far from perfect. Most valleys have a playful shuffle to them, and the first one tries to shatter your bones. And the pacing is not the strongest because the ride loses a lot of speed on most of the turns. But hidden underneath that battered facade are some fun moments. Whether you ride in the front or back car, you'll get one extreme airtime moment made special by those buzz bars. This is the main reason I ride this coaster. While the rest of the airtime moments aren't too powerful, they are improved by those aforementioned restraints. And you have that neat view of the baseball stadium next door as well. In a state full of classic wood coasters, Skyliner gets lost in the shuffle. Heck, it's even overshadowed by a coaster in the very same park. But Skyliner delivers a standout moment as good as any wood coaster in the state. So those are my thoughts on Skyliner at Lakemont Park. What are your thoughts on this coaster? Let me know down below. Especially if you've been lucky enough to experience this ride with a full train. Let me know if it rides any better. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.